This is my favorite part of the garden. It's the attractant. So I put a lot of research into finding which plants specifically attract butterflies. More plants attract, some plants attract more butterflies than others. And so this is the garden where the power happens. It starts here. I wanted it off the road. I know it looks like a road, but this is a cul-de-sac. And so I wanted it, it's really low traffic, and people who go in this cul-de-sac rarely hit 20 miles an hour. So I don't think they're going to kill a lot of butterflies driving through here. And this is Greg's Mistflower and Texas sage. And I found that in the deserts that the butterflies will congregate in Texas sage and live oak groves during a storm. So I put both of these attractant and shelters right here. I have come out here during a storm and found a few in there, but it's not like I would think. There was like 50 or 100 in there. I found like 4. So I guess they do use it as a shelter, but yeah. So these again are my 2 favorite Texas sages. They're El Dorado Texas sage, and I just love their cenizo, and I just love how silver they are. They really add a difference, a pop. So you can see the butterfly. I mean, I don't know if you can see them on camera, but there's just butterflies all over the place. There's a monarch. Is it a monarch? No, it's not a monarch. It's a Gulf fritillary, I think. So Greg's Mistflower. I mean, this is butterfly crack. I just haven't weeded this portion yet. I am going to weed this portion out eventually, and it's only going to take me 5 minutes, but I need to get to it. Also, there's a little bit of nettles growing in here, and in the Texas sage I got to get rid of, so that's going to be fun. Long sleeve shirt day. So you can see just how big of a patch the Greg's Mistflower is. So, I've weeded quite a bit of it. I just haven't gotten to all of it. Here I had a bunch of canna lilies, and I think I'm just going to let the Greg's Mistflower just come in and just take over. I mean, it is the thing that draws in the most butterflies, and people tell me all the time, my goodness, the amount of butterflies in your yard. And this is one reason why. This is, I always say this word wrong. Zexmenia. I'm saying it wrong, whatever. I always say it wrong. We're going to call it Zexmenia. And it's never in full bloom, but it's always in a little bit of bloom. And I like it because it's always in some sort of bloom. I mean, it'll bloom more than this, like more than what we got here. But this is one plant. It tries to spread. I've got one trying to spread over there. I've got one trying to come up here and a couple back there. But I pull it up. This is one plant. This plant is meant to be a divider between the Greg's Mistflower and this bed, which is intended to be just for sensitive briar. This is a super low maintenance garden, but this bed here is high maintenance. If I do not weed it, then it just takes a long time for it to show off, because the plant I'm trying to show off is just so small. This is mealy blue sage, and there's a white one there too. See, a white one popped up. I'll definitely want to pull that up because I don't want the white ones spreading. I like the purple pop over here. It's meant to draw attention away from the growing lantanas. I was really hoping these lantanas would come back, but they're coming back from the roots. So whatever, I got to come in here and cut them. Sometimes they do come back from the tips, and it saves me a lot of work. Regardless, this is a high maintenance bed, but this is a really cool plant. This is the plant, when you touch it, it closes. It has a response. So you'll notice the plant closed, right? You can see the difference in leaves here. I'll show you the difference in leaves. Here it is again. Oops. The plant has a response. Watch. I'm going to close these. You'll notice these stay open. Really, really neat. Anything that you touch closes. So that's why I let that live, because that's just a really cool thing. I mean, you can see all the pollinators over here. There's a couple different kinds of butterflies. There's several different honeybees over here. And I really want the mealy blue sage to take over this whole corner. Just take over all the way up to here. And it's a short-term bloomer, but it stays long enough that it's going to hide the milkweed garden in the background. The milkweed garden isn't going to be the prettiest thing to look at. So this will kind of hide it when it's not in bloom. I have literally never seen this butterfly. It's like iridescent. Interesting. Let's see, he's shy. Oh, there we go. Let's get a little color. Look at that. Very interesting color to that butterfly. So that's what this is here for. It's a pollinator garden. Oops, finger in the way. This rock is put here on purpose. People kept cutting this corner. They'd cut this corner and they were constantly running over my plants right here. They were cutting the corner and cutting the corner. So this is my property. I put it about an inch or maybe an inch and a half on my side of the curb. And it is a substantial stone. And if they hit it, they learn a lesson. Well, a couple of my neighbors came up to me and said, "Oh man, I think I hurt one of your stones." I'm like, "No, you definitely didn't hurt my stone. The stone is just fine." What they did is they buried it for me. This thing looks like it's barely sticking out of the ground because it's buried 4 inches into the ground. You can kind of see the tire marks on the side. There's been a couple of big, heavy dualies run over it. One guy ran over it with a trailer. This is going to make a big noise. You run over it with a trailer. It looks like it's an iceberg. Let me put it this way. There's a third of it underneath the ground. It's well suited for that spot. So that's a good education stone. I'm trying to grow cannas here, but I'm just not getting the production quality. They're high maintenance. They need water. I'm not going to water them. They're on their own. So I think I'm going to pick them up and move them to Houston. They just don't like it here. And then over here, I'm going to have Mexican feathergrass. Wow, this mountain laurel has probably grown 2 feet this year. No joke. Holy, the feathergrass garden is gone. I promise there's feathergrass in there. Where the mountain laurels are just covering them. Holy. Well, I'll just take the feather grasses out that are left. But you can see that this is all going to be feathergrass just right here. Just kind of filling in and hopefully filling in with the milkweed back there. There's one milkweed plant here. I believe this is an antelope horns. There's only one that survived. I have such a hard time with milkweed. Yeah, I got to keep this milkweed in my yard. It's a nice big one. I'm going to have to dig it up after it flowers and everything. Hey, you know what? There's some seeds. Solid. I'll grab those. Yeah, it's time for me to cut back the lantanas. That's really unfortunate. Mountain laurel is massive now. This is exactly what I wanted, a screen. I wanted a screen from the north wind, which comes from here. And so you can see the north wind is just kind of screening the garden through there a little bit. There's another mountain laurel that's coming up too. It's a little smaller. It was broken in half its first year. So once this one hits this big, then this should just completely screen. I mean, that's probably like 2 more years. Then this should just completely screen this garden from a full force northern wind. That'll be good because that a lot of times that's what kills the plants, like kills them off, is that north wind. So that's all I'm trying to do. These are desert plants, and they're a lot of times South Texas desert plants. Some of them are tropical. So blocking that north wind is clutch. This is one Mystic Spire sage. I'm definitely going to have to propagate this year. It's one of my favorite plants, but it is super picky. It's not the mealy blue sage. They're different. This one's a Mystic Spire sage. And I don't understand it. It's just so, I think they must be a short-lived plant, because they'll live like 4 or 5 years and then they toast and they peak at like 3 or 4 years. So I don't know. Maybe they're just a short-lived plant. I'm going to tell myself that anyway. 2 Esperanzas over here. You know, I am due to transplant these suckers. Going to move these Esperanzas from here back over to here. The Anacostia orchid has officially eaten them. I mean, it's like 1 p.m. and they're 1:30 p.m. They're getting no sun, so yeah, they're not going to grow very well there. They're intended to be pollinator plants during a season when there's nothing blooming. Now they're not going to get enough sun to bloom. This Anacostia orchid is awesome. Really good screen. Really love this thing. It's a pretty flower, not a lot of scent to it, but the pollinators. I mean, it doesn't attract a lot of the showy pollinators, but the ones that are like the size of a dime, and the ones you won't recognize unless you're a real nerd, I don't recognize them, then this plant attracts them. There's one right there. There's a moth that just flew in over there. It's like a tan moth with an orange spot on it. I mean, this plant attracts those kind of outliers. This must be like the rebel plant, the plant that if you're a true rebel, you just love. Oh, here's a good view of the bloom. Yeah, it's just beautiful. So it is a orchid. It's an orchid tree, basically. It's a shrub. You can trim it into a tree, but I want a shrub. I want a screen here. And so I'm going to let 3 of them grow here. And then I'll trim all the rest. But I'm going to let 3 get really super big in this dense area so that I have a nice big screen. This is going to be the edge of the screen. And then the Esperanzas are going to be the edge of the screen. So, yeah. This garden is looking pretty good. This persimmon tree is kind of cool. It's being held up by a brace. And, you know, I take the brace out and this thing sags about 3 or 4 inches. And then I have to pick it back up and put the brace under. I mean, the brace definitely helps it. It doesn't help it for lateral movement, right? Just helps hold it up. But, yeah, that brace is kind of interesting. You can't really see because it's an old persimmon tree that we used to have like 5 of them here, but they were all leaning over like this. Now it got big and fell over. This path here I just recently changed and updated. I'm just gonna make this yard and just grass and just mow it and everything. But right now I've got mulch in it, and so I think this path is just gonna end somewhere in the mountain laurel. You know what I mean? It's just going to dead end here. And that will leave this open for whatever. But I need to mow it and I need access to it. So keep changing how this path goes through. That's how it is. This fig, oh my gosh, this fig has some problem. Every year, this fig has some sort of problem. Now it looks like it's fucking buried. Nice. Every year this fig has some sort of problem. Last year it looked like it was going to be huge, just like this. It looks like, hey, I'm going to get a lot of fruit out of this. And the contractors cut it down. Wonderful. This is a mist garden. You can see these little sprayers. There's 3 misters here. And this is supposed to be milkweed. Many of the seeds washed down to here in a rainstorm, but you know, I walked on a lot of the seeds, so I know there's some up there. So I've been coming out here and just picking stuff here and there, and the stuff that's not, that I can tell isn't milkweed. Some, you know, when it's really small, it's really hard to tell between milkweed. I'll be able to identify it better later, but this whole thing is supposed to be irrigated milkweed. I was told to give it a little bit of water, and since I'm trying to grow it from seed, you know, I'm trying. But it just doesn't seem like it's really catching over here. This is exactly, when I drive down to South Texas, this is exactly where I see it growing. So if you look at this environment right here, you see the persimmon tree, this persimmon tree and the cedar elm tree. They kind of form a tree line. You can kind of see it right here, a shade line. and then the milkweed is just outside of that. It's not under the shade. It's not way, way, way out in the sun. It's kind of right underneath it where it probably gets a few hours of shade. And so that's what this gets. And I don't understand. It's just not growing that well. I've always had a hard time with milkweed here. Planted 4 different kinds of seeds here. So I'm bound to determine that's my milkweed garden. This is my deer detector. To be honest with you, the only reason this is here, the purple stuff, is because it's my deer detector. I really want to put a replacement tree here, but the replacement tree would be in the way. No matter where I put it, I wouldn't be able to grow it right now. It'd be in the way of something. So I'll have to plant the replacement tree, I don't know, after this dies. I'll have to plant it. It's leaning over so much. I don't want the replacement tree over there. I want it like right here, but right here you can see it gets no sun. Virtually nothing grows there, just sedges, and then it's mud. Nothing grows there. And I kind of want it, don't want it over here. A lot of shade and stuff, so yeah, whatever, it is what it is. Gonna put a replacement tree in for this bad boy though. Texas persimmon. The arborist told me it was over 100 years old. You can see how thick it is. This is, gosh, that's 20 inches around. That's a substantial log. But it's on its last legs. It's getting so big, and the support's only going to hold it so long. So, just trying to prolong it. I try and keep it trimmed to keep the weight off it in the hopes that it'll kick back some weight the other direction to counterbalance. So all I can do is try. Really the only sore spot in this yard is the lantana, to be honest. Did I just flip it? I did. I cut it this way. Yeah, the only bad thing in this garden is the lantana, to be honest. More chives. This is where the deer used to sleep. Same thing here, deer used to sleep here. If I saw deer sleeping, then I put chives there. I grew like 30 chives by seed, and I would put them out in 3-packs. So here's a 3-pack of chives. I harvested a bunch of these, and I'm going to end up moving these to the garden. This is going to be a permanent garden. I think I've figured out the size I want, and you can see there's shade, and there's more shade. So there's a couple of different microclimates here, and about 3 different microclimates I can squeeze out of this with this persimmon tree above it. And right now the cover crop's doing pretty well. I've got purple hull peas coming up over here. There's an artichoke coming out until it burns out, but it's not going to do very well. The artichokes froze this year, and I wasn't here to take care of them. You can see more purple hull. These are the bush variety purple hull peas. I'm going to let these ones grow probably another week, and then I'm going to plant a bunch of the non-bush variety, like the ones that get big, and I'm going to plant those over here. Here we have dill and cilantro. It's my cover crop. I have no idea why the cilantro chose to come up right before. I put this here by seed last year, and it chose to come up right before it was going to die. I don't understand that. Something in the seed triggered it to come up now. I put this in the ground last October. Interesting. The dill came up awesome and was eaten by all of the butterfly larvae. That is awesome. So I'm definitely going to grow more dill. And dill is a great cover crop. Man, fantastic. I mean, it grows up nice, and if you get them, we have one area here where it's doing pretty well, and it's shading. It's not quite a great cover crop, but it's a good addition to a cover crop. Let me put it that way. So we've got some dill. It's hopefully going to seed out. Again, all the dill, you can see all the dill was eaten back. Man, there's got to be 20 of them here. And then now we have passion flower. The passion flower was all really big, and then same thing. Butterfly larvae came in. You can see one right there. And ate it all. That's what it's here for. That's great. Eventually, they will be a big control asset for me. If I have them, it's not going to get that big. If I don't have them, it's going to get huge. The other thing I've got over here is tie vine. This tie vine is kind of acting as a cover crop, which I'm okay with. The tie vine is useful. I can definitely use that as a vining material or whatever. It's fairly strong. It twines together, twines on itself, and I can use these in. I've used them before in lashing. Which one? Where is it? Oh, I don't know. One of these is lashed with twine vine, and I just wanted to see how long it's lasted. It's been over a year, so that's what this is here for. I'm going to try and harvest it and use it for my sprinklers, for my irrigation system. This is here, lattice is, it's here for whatever, the Thai vine or the passion vine, but man, it is getting eaten just perfect. I might put another lattice up here, like put another one right here so that the vines could just grow up the whole fence. They're not that heavy, they're really not. You pull them down in about 5 minutes. I pull them down in like February. There's a carpenter bee house here. And you can see there's been carpenter bee activity in there. It's kind of cool. I lowered it. It used to be 2 feet higher, but I found it was not getting the kind of activity it should be getting. This is a water source right here. And they'll eventually learn that this is a water source. And so I would think that their home would be here because they come back and forth throughout the day to their home. So yeah, interesting that they are not recognizing this as a water source. So I don't know what to do with that. I'm hoping that they come and hoping they can do better. This is my first year having the earth boxes in the front yard. I'm gonna have to find some way to put the tomatoes in the front yard. I think the homeowner association specifically says no tomato cages in the front yard, which I totally understand. So I'm gonna find some other way. There's got to be another way I can use 1x1s and kind of build a ladder or something, some sort of framework or something like that I could put in here. And I'm not even going to have to put it in until they get, 2 feet tall, really, until they start really, really leaning over. But these earth boxes were designed for tomatoes. I think I over-fertilized this one. I think that's why it's getting so much curl. But I've got them all labeled, so I know approximately which one they should be. Some of the labels faded, but I think I got them right. And I've got some great varieties, but the girls absolutely love tomatoes. So these earth boxes, they're growing great. These are all planted by seed. I planted them January 5th, I think, 5th or 6th. They didn't come up until almost February, so I don't know why, but they just didn't come up. And it's mid-April. I'll get some blooms before they shut off, or I'll get some stuff before they shut off in June. I've already got some blooms on them. I also have dandelions here. I should point that out. I let the dandelions grow because they are supposed to be good for your kidneys. And kidney flush, I think is what it is. I think that's what it is. Regardless, they're supposed to be good for you. So I have the dandelions in there so that I'll get some organic goodness, hopefully. This is also my nursery. I'll just have a little nursery here, and I can always expand it, but right now that's just my nursery. Over here I got some blue-eyed grass. Very cool.